Alright YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today guys, we are up with another deck profile, and I do apologize for not uploading this past week because it was Halloween, and belated Halloween for everyone watching this video. But anyways, we are gonna talk about the new tech card for the EXOSISTER archetype. So what I'm talking about is the new SAKITAMA. So this was added last week on the 30th. So this is a really good card, or a tech card, for the EXOSISTER archetype, having to be a level 4 monster to be on the field, and you can rank to either of your needed EXOSISTER monster. Furthermore, you don't need to use up more of your resources for the EXOSISTER archetype, rather than just these two cards alone, which is the Aratama and the SAKITAMA. So typically you have the Aratama on hand, you normal summon it, search for a copy of SAKITAMA, and then SAKITAMA will reveal itself, normal summon the SAKITAMA to the field, and there you have it. You have two level 4 monsters that you can go into your rank 4s. So with the deck, since we are just using these two cards alone with 2 copies of each, we have a ton of room for any board breakers or kaijus or hand traps for that matter. So 3 copies of each. Maxi, Ash Blossom, Imperm, 2 copies of Cold Blooded Grave, and 1 copy of Cross of the Signator as your favorable or staple hand traps. For your EXOSISTER monsters, you have 3 copies of Alice, 3 copies of Stella, 1 copy of Irene. I think this is just a really good card if you want to spin back 1 card from your hand. And then 3 copies of Sophia for drawing 1 card. And of course, your Martha, which is a typical or an instant rank 4 monster to the field. For your board breakers, you have 2 copies of Santa Claus. You can go with 3 copies of Santa Claus. Now, the reason for me adding Santa Claus to this type of build, you can go with Kaijus or Lava Golems, but I do prefer having a Santa Claus in my deck because you can tribute any number of Santa Claus to your opponent's side of the field as long as you have unlimited copies on hand. So typically you can just remove 2 monsters if you have 2 copies on your hand. 1 Harpy Splitter Duster and 1 copy of Triple Tactics in case our opponent is going first. I think that's basically it. Oh yeah, the spell cards for the EXOSISTER archetype, you have 3 copies of Pax, 1 copy of Vadis, and 3 copies of Returnia. You can go with 2 and 2 for the Vadis and the Returnia, but I don't think that it's kinda necessary to have 2 copies of Vadis, so might as well gonna have 3 copies of Returnia, since this is so much more usable for this archetype or this build. For the extra deck, we are running with 1 copy of Exiton Knight, a really good card as well, just removing all the cards on the field. 1 Baguska if you want to stall the game for like 2 turns. So this is kind of neat. I had 1 win with this card, just having to stall with 2 turns because I had a bad draw. 1 copy of the Garrus, just for spell summoning 1 monster, drawing 2 cards, or typically doubling the attack of 1 monster on the field. For your EXOSISTER monsters, you have 3 copies of Michaelis, 2 Caspitels, 1 copy of Jibrine, 1 copy of Azotel, and 2 copies of your Magnifica. Of course, we have 1 Zeus, since this is an EXI deck. For your Link monsters, you have 1 copy of Lina the Light Charmer and 1 copy of Celine, the Queen of the Master Magicians. So that is typically the main deck there, guys. Now, with regards to the replays, I have 4 replays for you guys today. Sadly, I couldn't get like a proper replay for the Kashtira's or up against the Kashtira deck, since majority of the time that I've dealt with Kashtira decks, they immediately scoop if ever they are losing. Well, typically it's kind of awkward going up against the Kashtira deck. But anyways, yeah, that is the main deck. Let's go towards the replays. Alright guys, so here we are with the 4 replays, and to start off our game, we are going up against Mikankos here. So not really the best of strategy going first, but I didn't know that it was Mikanko's, of course. Also, our hand is not really that great, so we have 2 Aratamas, 1 Cold Blooded Grave, and 1 Triple Tactics, and 1 Returnia. At least we have Triple Tactics or Returnia, and of course Cold Blooded Grave if ever we'll get Ash or Maxi. So might as well gonna go first with Aratama and search out a copy of SAKITAMA. SAKITAMA will reveal itself, normal summon to the field, and we go for our first rank 4 monster, which is the Caspitel. Caspitel will then search as a copy of our Martha. Now, basically, this is the basic combo for EXOSISTER deck. So since we already have the Returnia on hand, might as well gonna get a copy of Vadis here, since we don't have a copy of Vadis. So with that, we go into Magnifica last, and then set our Cold Blooded Grave, our Vadis, and our Returnia for our turn. So you can go also with Michaelis here and a Caspitel, but I do prefer just having Magnifica on the field. So that is it, and we got Harpies, one Harpies on his 40 card deck, really insane. We just chained with Vadis here. Luckily, he chains with Baxi so that we can disrupt it with a copy of Cold Blooded Grave. So yeah, lucky for us. And lastly, we just used the effect of Returnia just for the sake of using it, since it's gonna be destroyed anyways. So that is it. Banishing the cards, destroying my cards with the Harpy Spinner Duster. But luckily, we still have Magnifica on the field. So once he revealed the Preparation of Rites, I immediately say, oh, this is Mikanko. So Mikanko, as long as there are no specific cards in the graveyard and on the field, we can immediately win this game. So he dumped a copy of Double-Edged Sword here, so insanely good for us. He's gonna use Arabesque, target my Magnifica. We chain that twice. One for banishing the Arabesque, and the second one for spell summoning the Michaelis to the field, which is an additional, what you call this? Banish. So he's gonna take control of my Michaelis here. So we only know that he has one copy of Ohime on hand. The other card is kind of unknown. So he just could take control of my Michaelis here. But before that, we banished the Double Edge, since that is practically useful for them during that turn. So he attacks my defense position monster and then go for Zeus later along the line. So this is kind of insane. So at this point on, before we drew into the Imperm, I could have just go for Aratama and get a copy of Sakitama, normal summon for a rank 4. If he uses the effect, we can go for triple tactics, but luckily we got Imperm, so we don't have to worry about that. So Imperm on the Zeus, and we go for a basic play. So one card is typically Ohime on hand, the other one is unknown, but it was just typically a Harry, so it's not really a problem. So we go for Caspitel again, and then search out a copy of Martha as our basic combo. Martha will then be spell summoned to the field for a Michaelis. And there we go, Michaelis to the field. Then we go for Zeus, or banish Zeus, I mean. And then go for Magnifica for the double attack. So that's it. Instantly 5-6 all in all. And we still have a one card for, well, typically two card banish. One for Magnifica and one for Returnia. Technically three banish if we include the Michaelis summon. So he's gonna get the Mikanko Ceremony here. So that it was actually the Harry here. He's gonna use the effect of Mikanko Ceremony. He's gonna dump one card from the deck to the graveyard, so might as well gonna banish this one. We don't want him to touch the graveyard or that card to the graveyard. And he's gonna summon Ohime to the field. Now Ohime, since there are no equip spells in the graveyard, so we are still good. So banishing the Ohime, and that's basically his last game. So that is game number 1, guys. Let's go for game number 2. Alright, so for game number 2, we're going up against Labrynth here, so a really powerful deck as well, and he's going first. Luckily, we have Ash Blossom, 1 Ellis, 1 Cold Blooded Grave, 1 Vadis, and 1 Returnia. The most important one here is the Ash Blossom, so that we can negate the effect of Big Welcome or Welcome. So he's gonna go first. He's gonna use the effect of Labrynth Kuklak here, and then use the effect of 1 Chandelier. Yeah, Chandelier. And then get that one to the field. Use the effect of Prosperity. Now this is quite insane though, banishing 6 cards for this. But I think he got a copy of Ice Dragon's Prison here, so yeah. And then he's gonna use the effect of that back row. Luckily we have the Ash Blossom, like I said. That's only a big counter for a Labrynth deck. So negate that one. So at this point on, he can't do anything else but just set 1 copy of Ice Dragon's Prison. So I'm practically thinking of just prioritizing and not dumping any spellcasters or warriors after I summon the rank 4s to the field, because my rank 4s are warrior monsters, so we must be careful. So we go for Aratama and get a copy of Sakitama. Sakitama normal summon to the field. He's gonna use the effect of Big Welcome, bouncing back the Kuklak. Doesn't really matter. He's gonna use the effect of Chandelier. Now we can just call by the grave this because we don't want him to get another card. And now at this point on, I practically have game here. So we still have Ellis on hand, so we can spell summon Ellis to the field. We just need a copy of the Martha first. And we go for Martha. spell summon that to the field with a copy of Ellis, use the effect of Ellis, and with that 2 Ellis, we can go with Michaelis. Now, the thing about Martha is this is the only EXOSISTER that can trigger its effect if there is a forced banish from our opponent's graveyard, or any graveyard for that matter. So we banish his own monster, we go for Jibreen, and that's basically game. So we don't have to worry about the back row, but we need to summon first Magnifica in case he'll summon the monster. So all my monsters are warriors. So there are no warriors in the grave, so might as well gonna go for game. There we go. Attack for Michaelis is gonna use the Ice Dragon's Prison for the last defense of my Martha. We're just gonna use the effect of Magnifica to banish the card, and that's game. Doesn't really matter because he doesn't have any card anyway. So that's it. Attack, and that's it. So that's game number 2, guys. Let's go for game number 3. Alright, so for game number 3, guys, we are going up against Naturia Runick. So another formidable deck as well. So he's going first, but we got a copy of Ash Blossom, 1 Aratama, 1 Sakitama, and 2 copy of Pax here. So he's gonna go first. I think he actually bricked here because what he only does here is summon 1 Hugin to the field. The Runick Tip was actually his only chance of searching out a field spell. Luckily, I had Ash Blossom to negate the Runick Tip because I want him to use another Runick card and dump another card on hand, so that would be somewhat beneficial for me. So that's the Hugin to the field, and dumping with 1 card with the effect of Hugin just to bring out a copy of the Fountain to the hand. So with that, 2 cards are unknown to me, but at least he did not use the effect of the Fountain. So this tells me that he doesn't have any other Runick cards on hand other than the Fountain. So he's gonna use the effect of Maxi, so that's 1 down. We luckily got a Call by the Grave here, so that's insanely good. And with that, banishing the Maxi. Now take note, we already have the Aratama and the Sakitama on hand, so that's insanely good. Might as well go for the Aratama. Now, typically you don't need the Aratama to normal summon the Sakitama. As long as you have Sakitama on hand, you can reveal itself and then normal summon the level 4. So insanely good for this new tech card for EXOSISTERs. So with that, we go for Caspitel, like our typical play a while ago. Get a copy of our Martha. Now this was actually game here at this point on. So we should have got a copy of Alice from the packs. Use the effect of Martha, will summon the Alice, and we should have done the same thing that we did with the Labrynth play, but it wasn't actually game because I'll show you in a while what happened. I think he has the Bestial monster on hand, so we couldn't do any game for that matter. I think we could have, but we still need to banish 1 card. Because if ever we did that for the Martha, the Michaelis will banish the card, and then the Magnifica can still just banish 1 card only. So, yeah. Go for attack. He's gonna use the effect of Magnemite here, and attack for the 2nd time. Now, the only difference with that combo that I said earlier is I can deal a ton of damage here instead of just the Magnifica dealing with 2800. So, yeah, that was a really I did not think this through. So that's my problem with control decks. I don't really use my brain properly. But he's gonna use the effect of Fountain. I'm gonna use the effect of Magnifica here. He's gonna use the effect of the Freezing Curses just to negate. Luckily, the effect of Magnifica can spell summon the Michaelis to the field. So Michaelis, and that will disjoint the target from the Freezing Curses. There we go. Banishing the Fountain, and he still has 1 Fountain left. He's gonna use the effect of Juice Worm, but luckily we have a copy of Vadis. Spell summon 2 monsters, and he banished 1 card from our graveyard. So at this point on, the 2 cards on the field will use its effect. So that's basically it. Insanely good for the archetype. I can still negate the effect if the Juice Worm will be in the graveyard. So yeah, we still won that game. Let's go for game number 4. Alright, so game number 4 and last replay for you guys today. So we have 1 Maxi, 1 Ash Blossom, 1 Aratama, 1 Stella, and 1 copy of Pax. So our opponent is going first and we're going up against Purrely here, so another formidable deck. During a draw phase, we use the effect of Maxi. He's going to use the effect of Pretty Memory. Luckily, we can Ash that one. If he wants to expand more of his plays, he can just use another Purrely card, but he did that, so yeah, lucky for us. He's gonna go for triple tactics, setting a copy of Imperm here, and that's basically it. So at this point, this is what I did. This is a typical misplay on my part because I went ahead and used the effect of Aratama instead of using the Pax and then getting a copy of Martha. So if he knew that if he knew the cards on my hand, he can just negate the Aratama, and I would have settled with 1 Aratama on the field with nothing else. So this is quite dangerous. But luckily he didn't use the effect of Imperm here. So we went ahead and go for Caspitel, get a copy of Martha afterwards. Martha on the field, we go for Michaelis. So the typical play again. And Michaelis will bounce or banish 1 card in the back row. He's going to use the effect of Imperm here. There we go. Now I could have played this carefully though, but I was just playing through the Imperm here because we can't do anything about it anyways. So go for Magnifica, attack for the 5-600, and go for Pax, getting a copy of Vadis here. So with the Vadis at Naturia, we are good. On his turn, he's gonna summon the Fenrir to the field. We banish the Fenrir. He's gonna go for the Purrely Street, which is not that bad. We can just banish that one later along the line. There we go. Use the effect of Vadis, spell summon the Irene and the copy of Sophia. Use the effect of Pretty Memory. So spell summon the Magnifica to the field. So 1 banish. We need to banish the Purrely Street because that is quite dangerous if he does spell summon a monster. He's gonna go for a copy of Purrely monster or the Purrely monster, and we still have 1 banish. So if he gets the continuous spell, we still have another banish, of course. That is much more important. He's gonna use the effect of Purrely, go for Beauty. Now this is just a negate, so I'm not really afraid of this one. But yeah, since he removed 1 card from the graveyard, we can use the effect of our monsters here. 1 for Jibrin for a negate, and the other one would be Caspitel. There we go. He's gonna use the effect of my friend Purrely. We use that Returnia and banish that continuous spell. So he's just scoop because of that. So he can't do anything else. So that is the replays, guys. Let's go back to the outro. So that is the deck profile for you guys today, and those were the replays. Hope you enjoy this kind of content. Like and subscribe for more contents like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.